you're looking at now is Planet X, the wing destroyer, whatever you want to call it. It has a plasma atmosphere with two wings and a plasma tail, with trillions of debris in its plasma tail. So let's look at the camera features, because this thing is being seen in the near infrared spectrum. Many people says I can't see Planet X. Of course not, because it's in the infrared. It's giving off heat though. Unless the sun's shining directly on it, you're not going to see it. And it's also coming on the ecliptic plane, making it very difficult to watch at sunrise and sunset. So let's look at the aperture at, notice the f-stop at 4, ISO speed maxed out at 1600 with 4 electrovolts and exposure time of 30 seconds. If we go back just 10 minutes earlier, it was dark. Nothing had changed. We have f-stop at 4. Only 3 things that's going to affect the light: ISO speed at 1600 and exposure compensation at 4 electrovolts at the exposure time of 30 seconds. Nothing had changed. 4, 1600 electrovolts, 4 electrovolts, and 30-second. Where does all that light coming from? Well, for anybody who, and then look, it got even brighter, right? And still nothing has changed. Where's all this light coming from? Well, let's look at stellarium to see where we're at with this time. Go back. Let's look at the time frame here again. Let's look very carefully. This all starts at 3 o'clock in the morning. So here we are in stellarium. Now I'm going to show you. There's a little arrow here showing you the location that we're facing the north, because that's where the camera's facing. And you're going to see the time at the 24th. And let's set this to 3 o'clock. And where this object basically is facing the north, below the Big Dipper, just to put this right about here, is what we're looking at, near Draco's tail, the dragon's tail. So isn't that poetic, right? The dragon, the winged destroyer, is the. So where's the moon? It's below the horizon. That's where it's at. So is the sun. But any dare to debunk this, you're going to see that this is Venus way over here. So it couldn't have been Venus. Let's remove, and below we can see the sun and the moon, okay, below the horizon. So what is lighting up this whole sky? Planet X. It's not waking anybody up because they can't see it. Your eyes can't see the infrared. These cameras can pick it up. And here's the next shot. We can see still the exposure rate has not changed. It's bright. And it gets dark again. Is that just crazy or what? And this thing moves around in the sky. But hold on your hats. Things are getting better. Again, this technology in the sky is keeping us with this lens array that JPL and NASA had put in place, ultra thin system here. Not really precise, but JPL had designed. I go back in my other videos and I go into detail about this ultra thin material that they put in space, hovering there, probably held up by satellites, just like satellites are in space. That's how it's there. It's there to hide the planets. It pulls your lens out of focus, pulls objects out of focus. Go back and watch my other videos how this is hiding it. Look at this fake sun pass in front of it. Now, yes, the real sun is behind the fake sun. It's to hide the solar eclipse. Look how this thing even changes and flickers. And look how the light passes through the lens array and how it's hiding the same thing. So now, with that being said, let's look at this next shadowy object here. And I will show you, just hang in there, a stunning pictures of the, matter of fact, I'm going to jump right into it. No, hold on. So, stunning pictures. And here we have the same thing. Let's look at this one. Again, Here is what it looks like, these shadowy objects. When it gets dark, you'll keep your track on these cameras that shadow will turn white because it's infrared. So here we have the, let me zoom in on this and see its full picture, because when you click on it, you're going to see the whole thing. Yep. There's our planet. There's the projection on the infrared spectrum right here. It's a projection because it is going through a lens. That's how. Then we get, this was taken on the 23rd at 11 o'clock at night. Again, we see the shadowy object here. Let's see if we can show the progression of this shadow. Yes, and you will see shadows. I'm going to present you the proof. Just hang in there. That this is going to be casting shadows. What the light is casting. It's coming from the north and casting the shadow forward. As you will see later in this video, so just hang in there. You're going to see your shadows. As a matter of fact, you saw one right there. Here is the shadowy object. Here is being cast on the water. But it's going to be even more compelling evidence later in this video. Just hang in with me. So let's watch some more compelling videos. I've got a slideshow coming up. And I just want to show you that there is a lot that this overlay on this film is left out. So if you click on it, you're going to see a whole lot more. You're going to really miss out if you're not going back and watching all this extra sky that was cropped out by the camera. So here we can see this electric planet dancing in the sky. It's an electric universe, so it doesn't move. It's more of an erratic orbit. Some of them are fast moving. They got 3 different speeds. They're in different orbits. And in the slideshow, we're going to start to see the orbital paths of 3 planets. So here again, we get this white orb. I don't even want to call it an orb. It is a projection of the infrared planet. Would be higher up in the camera here, left out of view. So here we have the projection. And look at casting on the water. Now, here's where it gets good. Now I want you to keep your eyes on this. Now here we have a shadow and beginning to see these 3 planets. This is going to be part of the slideshow that I'm going to show you with more and more compelling proof of these objects. Now, this, what we saw earlier in my video, this was on the 10th, about 12 days earlier. We could see the same nature of this object, that it changed. Notice there's no changes on the camera. Again, we have it ISO at 4, 800, 2 electrovolts, and 20-second exposure rate. And the exposure rate only changed to 25. And then notice how it just gets dark again. Look at that. Where did all that light come from? I'm telling you, it's from this object. It's lighting up the whole sky. It's lighting up the cameras. Okay, so just like we saw on this, the same settings on the camera, nothing changes. It suddenly appears. There are no changes. And just 12 days earlier, it's doing the same thing. It's doing it on many cameras around the world. We can see this is the plasma tail. And we can watch this thing. Let me go back. Okay, so again, we can see it's doing the same thing here. No changes on the camera thing when this thing appears. I mean, honestly, does that really look like a spider? That has some pretty good symmetry to it. Look at the plasma coming off that thing. And now, let's get into the shadows. Now, this is the shadow on the water. And what you're not seeing is what the camera had cropped off with this. So let's expand this picture and watch. Wow. So here you have, this is part of the beginning of the slideshow that I'm going to show you. just how to present this to you because these cameras are cutting this out. So here is your shadow being cast on the water, and the next shot, it suddenly disappears. And here we have more, but the shadows would be pointing in this direction. So think about the light source and what direction shadows are pointed. You're not always going to get shadows. So now, let's see if I could show you what we're missing in this cropped out video. This is blowing me away, people. I want you to see this thing. When you see the slideshow, because the only way to show you this is to save every photo, zoom in, and present it in a slideshow because the cameras are slow. So let me begin, show you a couple more of these shadows here. And let's see what we'll miss. Just to keep showing you what we're missing, these cameras are cropping this out. Okay? All right. So now let's begin the slideshow. You all ready for this? Okay. This is the best part. This is freaking mind-blowing. Okay. Sorry, little technical difficulties, but let the slideshow begin. So here we have a planetary body here, in here, casting its shadow here on the water. And just gets more impressive as we go forward. So we can see the shadow. Some of your eyes won't see this, but they will come into view for you. As we go forward, we have the planetary shadow here. We can see the shadow here, casting the faint shadow here. Some of you can't see it, but hang in there. Everybody's going to see the ones coming up. It's how sensitive your eyes are to the shades of color here. Here are these shadows. We have 1, 2, 3 objects. And the reason I like this slideshow, now we can start seeing the orbital path of these 3 massive planets. Look at the shadow here. Okay, that's, hang in there. I'm getting to the best shadows. I'm just going to kind of speed through this a little bit. Keep your eye on this here. I think that's part of the lens array. Let's keep going, because you're going to love some of these shadows coming up. Look at that one, people. Look at that. That things are fast moving. And here, another planet coming in from the right. I think it's probably in some kind of a trine or orbit. There you go. You want your shadow? Right there. And now we can see these 2 other planets in some bizarre trine or orbit, kind of probably a figure 8. So I'm just going to speed forward. I hope you can all see this. Sometimes they're pretty faint, difficult to see, but they're still there. Shadows on the water are even more difficult to see. It's very faint. There'd be one here, but we can't quite see it because the water is. There we go. Here we have a shadow being cast from this one above. So And I'm going to start this video off to show you what made me a believer in Planet X is what I captured on Starnberg, over Lake Starnberg, based in the western sky, what I believe to be none other than Planet X itself. But it is being obscured through a set of lens arrays. And let's just watch the time lapse. This is still in the archives, okay? I am on here. This is live. Now notice how this morphed into like a round shadowy object, and then it suddenly disappears. And next we see the shadow here and here. Let's watch what happens next with this time lapse. That this shadow is not a spot on the lens. It's 2 o'clock in the morning with the moon setting in the eastern sky. What you're going to see next, here's the moon. That is one bright moon. Look at that. 2 planets orbiting on both sides of the moon. Okay, so that, to me, was pretty epic and drew my attention. Now I want you to notice, yes, you're going to see what appears to be in front of the clouds. And you say, yeah, it's a spot on the lens. But that spot on the lens. How could it be a spot if it's moving? Is it something dangling in front of the camera? You know, I've heard all the arguments. Trust me, I have. And so with that, I want to explain real quick about the lens array and why there are lenses in the first place to hide these planetary objects. Pull them out of focus from your eyes. Pull the focal point away, making them basically invisible, leaving you to see a out of focus planet. And by pulling the object out of focus, it makes it disappear. So, but these are no ordinary lenses. These are ultra thin lenses that JPL had developed. Please go back and watch my last video or the Fake Sun videos. I go in more detail and a quick proof of the lens array, which in my last video is now breaking down. Like I put in my matrix, you can see in this there are no breakdown. Why over Australia so intense? Well, I got another theory for that, but I believe these are basically parked in almost a stationary orbit near and hiding the constellation Orion, where this whole system came and where it's going back to. That's my theory. The pyramids, Egypt, and everything else. And here we can see the overlapping lenses here that we see, which I believe is another reason why we see so with all that being said, let's look at what's happening now in our skies and why they're there. Well, if we draw your attention to another planetary object that we appear to see stars in front of it, but that's what we get when we have a lens in front of it that can diffuse the light, pulling out of focus. We end up seeing an out of focus planet that basically suddenly disappears and reappears and is getting darker in the skies. And I believe that if our sun would ever cross in front of this area of space, we see like these dark halos like I recorded. Let's watch that again. You're going to start seeing these when our fake sun crosses the path of those objects. So we watched this one disappear. We have in the western sky and in the northern sky. You just watch it disappear. Now, here, this one really stood out to me. Now, that might need some more convincing for anybody who is watching this first time. Try and say this is a spider. Well, spiders have 8 legs, and if that thing was directly on the camera, it would be much more distinct. But let's watch this alleged spider, which I believe to be Planet X with its plasma tail now facing down, which it's always facing down. And how come we can't see this spider with his legs pointing the other direction, right? So this was on June 9th, and we can watch this thing basically dance in the sky. And we see the same similar object on a different camera, the shadow being projected because of the out of focus lens array would, I believe it pulls it a focus that would normally land it on the Earth, somewhere lands in mid-sky, almost looking like a hologram. Again, we have almost exact same shape of the same object. And here is the camera here up on a high post right there. What could possibly be in front of that thing? If it was to be directly in front of the lens, there is nothing out there it could possibly be on. Look. What would be out there? What could possibly be on that camera? Next, here we got the same blob-like object that matches at the same, near the same time, that suddenly appeared and disappeared in the sky. And now we have these three objects that I've caught on two other cameras acting like the same thing. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. I hope that your eyes can see this. But there is an object there. If you can't, go find a friend, because not everybody are physically capable of seeing this round dot. There's an eye test for it. You can find it on YouTube. It's pretty cool. I'll leave a link in the description for that eye test too, to see. So let's go back and watch the time-lapse video of these sudden appearing and disappearing objects in the sky. Why would it suddenly get lighter and darker and suddenly disappear? And I'd say to myself, you know, that could be a web far out there in front of the camera, dingling around. It's obviously not on the lens because it's moving. Is it something caught on a spider web? Well, they'd have to be right in front of that lens if it was, and it would be a lot darker. And if it was something caught on the web and that close to the camera, how did it free itself? And it wouldn't be moving in a huge orbit like we see in this appearing and disappearing dots in the sky. So near the same time and the same direction of the sky, we could see this is facing north. And here we have another camera this camera is facing the west, caught the same image in the night sky on the same night. See, this here was on the 9th, and this was also on the 9th. Now, I believe these to stay in the sky for approximately 3 days. That's why when we get chemtrails, we get 3 days of chemtrails with dark halos like we've never seen before. So let's watch these 3 dark circles appear and reappear instantly, right? Over 30 minutes, gone. Wow. And if anybody wants to catch this stuff, forget time-lapse. You want to stream this stuff, because you can miss stuff between shots. These things are moving fast. You'll miss it if you don't stream it. If it's cloud-like stuff, that's one thing, but look at this. It was only in the frame for a moment. Now let's look closer look at this thing. This, to me, really blows me away. This is like the star of the show. Now, I believe this to be 1, 2, 3 planets interconnected with plasma being projected in the sky. And because it's an out-of-focus shadow-like object, that it's pulling in the light from the stars behind it. That's why they appear to be see-through. It's very confusing. That's why I had to show you the lens array to begin with, because this is some crazy stuff, and you can go and visit and see this stuff for your own self. So before I start any video, I have to explain why it is you see it like you see it. And again, we have the same object one day earlier on the 8th, and suddenly appear and disappear. This one took an extra half an hour. So that, to me, are these fast-moving objects. This camera here, let's translate this. I believe to be facing the west. Let's see. Yep, facing the west. Most of these are released in Germany. And then we've got another planetary shadow, I believe is in Germany. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but this one faces the northwest. So most of these objects are in the north and in the west. So if you've got cameras, you want to set them up in these two directions: southwest, northwest, or north. So let's watch this one. Poof, it's gone. Where'd the shadow go? And why are the shadows getting bigger? Now, what I like to do, if you guys, you can try and catch the sun that would pass in front of this thing, expect chemtrailing and a dark halo. So, and then I've got one more, but it's very faint, of the planetary shadow being projected. It's out of focus. It's not the object itself, and because it's got a lens and array in front of it, it is why we don't. It's very faint. So if you don't have eyes to see it, go do the eye test. I'll leave a link in the description showing the different hues of shades of color. That is a perfect circle. So how could it be anything natural, like a leaf or a spider, if it's perfectly circular? That isn't something true in nature, except unless it's a planet. And again, some of you may ask, how could it be perfectly still? Doesn't our planet rotate? Oh, I've got a software program I did way back in the archives explaining how objects appear in the sky. Not too many people go back and check it out. I'll leave that to a link in the description of how these objects, that's a lot of links of how and why these planets appear to be still in the sky. But they do have an electric nature to them. So next, at last, I'd like to show you something I caught in the sky in Sacramento with my own eyes, recording it with my iPhone 5. And here you can clearly, well, not clear, but you can see that this was a clear night with a very light chemtrail spray. And this dark object suddenly appeared in the sky. It was visible with the naked eye. And at this portion of the video, you can carefully see these bent legs of this object, one here and here. And I believe at the joint where they bend, I believe to be one of the 4 moons connected by plasma orbiting around this planet. And I think that's what those 3 objects are. So let's watch this. You have to carefully watch it, and you will see that the chemtrail spray is moving and passing in front of the object. And it also, I felt this thing. It was a very ominous feel to it. I couldn't explain. It just had a very strong presence to it, like I'm standing in the wake of a giant magnetic field. And that was nothing like it when you're that close. And you could see that the chemtrails pass in front of it. And it was there. I captured this, and a little bit later, Caught it here. A little later in the day, it is still there. Now this is like about an hour later. You can see the sun has set. The clouds are now purple. Interesting color, by the way. That we could see that it was still there, still over this chimney. And that was a pretty stunning day for me. And we might see it again as it leaves us, I think, this next October, but no one knows for sure. Hope you like this video. Please copy, like, and share. See you at the Lord's Supper. Have a blessed day. 7th, 2017. And in looking at an object in Germany. Now, we'll just get right to it. I'm going to go backwards in time. What I believe to be a planet moving, capturing this on 4 different cameras at the same time. This is the most spectacular one, so we just got to get right to it. So, this thing first comes into view at 1300 hours 40 minutes. Now, before you want to say it's a spot on a lens or a spider, spots on a lens don't move, and there are no legs on this spider. And watch it grow and change colors to the color red. So it's moving rather radically, but remember, we are an electric universe, and it moves. It's being pulled in different directions electrically. Just look at this thing. And in the other 4 other cameras, this thing is moving really erratic. And it's going to catch it almost at the same time. So just keep watching this. There you go. Did you catch this? Let me zoom in on this last one. See that? Nice gray shadowy planet. Next, it changes colors. Right there. Now it's turning the color red. Let me zoom in on this one. You see that? It's turning red. Yeah, it's a shadow. Now, before I go any further, let me again explain to you why we're looking at it this way. Because we are looking at it through a projection on a lens that's in outer space. Some of you have seen this before. This was captured over Australia. Again, this reveals the lens array and the fake sun. See these lenses? Always on the horizon. I've explained that in my last video why they're staying fixed on the horizon, because the chemtrails can't spray that low to make the sun big enough. It's always the smallest at this point. When it gets above the chemtrails, the sun will grow really big. Okay, so now let's go back and keep watching. This gets very interesting as we keep watching this thing. So now, this is a faintly red shadow. It's no longer gray. No legs of a spider. It's not an insect hanging out there hour after hour, bouncing back and forth. It's coming at the Earth like a comet. And then as the sun sets, it loses its colors. But oh, let's wait. Look at the reflecting the color red here where my mouse is. And then it becomes bigger and growing in the night sky. Still. Now here's where it gets interesting. You can barely make it out until now. You do have to strain your eyes a little bit. You will still see the circle here, cloaked, being the light and out of focus planet this whole time. And again, we can still see the shadowy dot. Let's watch this spot and let's still bounce back and forth. Look at that, nothing's changed, and now it's growing bigger. It's still there. But look how the light bends on this cloaking. It's not cloaking, it's light bending. But yeah, you can see stars through it, but that's because it's bent light. We're looking at an out of focus planet. Look at it, it's still there. You see this? It's not a lens aberration. Look how this thing moves back and forth. Change the shape, color, and size. Okay, now let's go back to the 1900 hours that we saw this thing first appear. Okay, and the same sky, a different camera, also in Germany. Oh, look at that. And let's watch this thing disappear in one frame. Also in Germany at the same position. The sky, Lake Starnberg. Oh my gosh. Are we going to call this a spider still? Oh, some people are never going to wake up, but I got to let that go. I do get pretty tired of hearing this. Look at that thing. It comes, it goes. For a couple frames, it disappears. That is not a spider. It is projection from the lens system. Again, also at 2000 hours, nearly the same time. Oh, another camera at the same time. What are the odds of that? And only in one frame. Go back in the history. Poof, it's gone. Yeah, no legs, okay? No spider legs, and it's red. All right. Like I said, I don't, and I even show you this one too, because this is the same hour, 1900 hours, and we can get the thing acting the same way. Moving with the sun, as the sun reflects the projecting through the lens system on this camera right here. Again, it's just a projection, like a hologram. It's gone. Sun's still rising, not a lens flare. For a more amazing one, look what's happening in Germany, right? Excuse me, Australia. This is a live feed. Oh, a sun halo. This is going on right now. Let's watch the time lapse. I also captured video in case we missed it. Look at this. Planetary shadow and a second one. Look at this, man. It's like, so there you go with the fake sun. So we'll check that going on right now in Australia. Behold. And those are chemtrails, man. Hey, look at this second one. Man, how do you explain that, right? Unless there's just another object there. Okay. But not just in one city. Two of them. This was next door at the same time. Let's do a time lapse on this one. You just missed that one. Oh, here's the other side of the sun. And we were looking at the left side, now we get the right side. But it's purple, man. It's purple. Where's that coming from, man? Would that be the red object that traveled in front of the sun? I'd like to see what the Secchi images look like at this time. Look at that. Oh, can you believe that? Why is it flaring purple? Well, let me I had a picture of these two, so let me, so here I also captured on camera, the same halos. You saw it live, but I will leave links in all descriptions. You can catch this yourself. Look how big across two cities. I even caught it in this thumbnail right there in two different cities. 1, 2. Now, how many round shadows do you actually see? Is there actually another one here and possible one here? Are there literally like 3 or more planets that just parade in front of our sun? Look at these lens petals. Wow. It even caught it on this camera. 3 halos at the same time. That thing is huge, right? Right? In case you missed it, look. 1, 2, 3 cities at the same time. And still going on as we speak. So, oh yeah, no, they did invent the artificial sun in Germany. I'll show you the article. Look how big this thing is. A huge array. Now, why do you think? So look at this. German scientists switch on the world's largest artificial sun in an attempt to create climate-friendly fuel. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense unless they really believe that the Nemesis star will literally short-circuit or equalize with the Nemesis, positively charged Nemesis, and the negatively charged our sun will balance each other out and no longer give its light for the next 7 years. And they plan on to grow plants in the New World Order. This thing will do everything that the sun does completely. I don't think this is the one that's floating in space, but why would they? It doesn't make any. This thing's very expensive. I think that they've made this thing short arc xenon lamps. I believe we have in outer space is still the LED version, but it does beg the question. You really study the energy it takes to make this thing, and they just want to grow food in the days of darkness until the sun that we have recharges as the Nemesis star pulls away and Nemesis returns to its fully positively charged state, and our sun gets negatively charged once again in this 3,600-year binary star system. Wow. So there you have it. Artificial sun. They can make them. Look at this. Melting through a solid plate of aluminum. Very powerful. And they can focus these things too. So one thing I wanted to say about these cloud punches, like this one, that touches down in the clouds and then drags across our atmosphere as the wind blows. If it was not as windy of a day, it'd be more of a circular cloud punch. See a drag here? I showed this in some other videos. You can see it drag and stretch just like a finger touching into the water through moving water as the water moves on, forming ripples through it. And then if that planet punch would happen over a major storm with heavy rain clouds, that magnetic force is real pressure that would compress our water into hail and set record-breaking, long-lasting hailstorms lasting 15 minutes with hail the size of baseballs, and one day they will be the size of basketballs. Yeah, look at that, blowing right through his roof. We should come outside and pick one of these up. It's the size of a baseball. This was in North Carolina. Look at that. Hail. Getting straight here. It's going to be happening more places in North Carolina too. If this would happen over a major storm, I guarantee you this is going to happen. Anyways, please copy, like, and share this video. See you at the Lord's Supper. It is July 6th, 2017, and I have presented many times in the past about these dark, shadowy planet-like objects that appear on cameras and maybe even to the naked eye. And you will not be disappointed. Please hang out. I have more evidence that these are celestial bodies that are eclipsing our sun and the moon. And yes, there is a moon simulator, just like there is a moon, just like a sun simulator. So let's just dig right into this evidence. Are these spots on the camera? Well, let's just keep watching Because if it was a spot on the lens of the camera, it would not move around. But I want you to watch something more powerful. This moon. And I'll prove to you that this is the moon. As it rises in the southwest sky in Germany. All the camera evidence I'm going to show you today are south and southwest over Europe. Southwest at the same time. Behold. This is going to blow you away. Now, watch this. Moon pass. This moon get eclipsed. The light of the moon being eclipsed. Let's just show. I just got to show you this. Watch what happens when the sun is being blocked from shining its light on the moon by a planetary object. Yes. So we got to turn on the moon simulator and get behind this thing and watch a halo right here. So now we've got the fake sun. We cannot see long characteristics of it. I'll probably want to bet this is not a full moon. And you couldn't tell it was a moon or not because we've got chemtrails in front of it. Next. The evidence keeps growing. Look at that. Are you seeing what I'm seeing, people? Is that the same shadow? I think it is. Because look, it disappeared. Absolutely breathtaking. But wait, we didn't just catch that on one camera. Look at that. The shadows over the lake, okay? Whoa. Okay. Anything that's absolutely perfectly round isn't pretty. Can't be freaking clouds. All right. First of all, let's look at the timestamp on this one. Let's go back because I've got this object captured on multiple cameras at the same time. It's the same moon, right? The same day. Friday the 7th, right? This is at midnight. I want you to catch this at the same time. Now, here we have the same object. This is at 2100 hours. Again, in Germany, facing the south. Okay, look. Sorry, go a little faster. Forgive me. Goes south. Now, let's watch the time lapse on this one. At the same time as the moon, disappeared, gets behind this planetary object. Here it comes. You watch for the eclipse. Oh, shucks. What do we have here? We see what I've shown in my other videos, the beginning of a halo with, it's not a sun dog. What do we call that, a moon dog? Okay, right. I'll give you an example of what that was, but let's just keep watching the time lapse. Now we got chemtrails appearing in front of the sun. Here is our shadow. Let's watch it keep passing in front. Let me gotta zoom this in because when you click on it, oh, look at that. It's about to be eclipsed. Just like it was in the other camera. And now they got chemtrails in front of it. Oh, but I've saved the best for last because just take a deep breath and keep watching. You know, I really like to make videos and this just takes your breath away. So, oh, look at that. A lunar halo. Wow. People, if you can't see that, tilt your monitor side, reduce the brightness, and you will see the outline of this dark halo. as it passes. I still save the best for last, so just keep watching. So again, we have a moon dog. Yeah, I know what that is, and I'll get into that. Just hang in there. Okay, let's just gotta click on this one again. We're on camera number 3 now, right? We see the moon halo with the chemtrail clouds masking the moon simulator, and now behold, I believe this to be actually Planet X. Again, just like we saw it at the 2100 hour mark on this camera. Let's click on that. Why do you see starlight through it? Remember, it's projection because we have lenses in front of it. Now, let's zoom in on that one. So you think that's still a spot on the lens appearing all the time on the same 4 different cameras in different cities around the world. It disappears. It's still going to hang out in the area though. Watch this. Watch as the moon passes in front of this object. Here comes the moon. What? Are you kidding me? Remember I said there's a planet out there. They're hiding it with a lens array. Pulling them out of focus. And here is the early signs of a dark halo around the moon. How does that work? Oh my goodness. I can't believe my eyes. There you go. Look at that, people. A lunar halo. Now, I'm going to show my video again what's happening here. As this planet passes in front of it, look at do you see the line of this halo right here? Let me zoom that in again. Right here. They're starting to see the absence of light right here. They're manipulating the light. We have and this is right. This is current imagery. This is 2 o'clock in the morning, right? Takes my breath away, people. Takes my breath away. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's see the demonstration of what I was talking about again for those who missed it about the fake sun or the sun simulator and the moon simulator. Why do they have moon simulators? Well, this object here is a representation of the sun. This dark circular object would be the celestial body eclipsing the sun. We would want people to freak out because we would have an eclipse, so we must continue to have some light. So let's put a fake light source in front of it, like a flashlight. It could be mirrored from the actual sun. And then you're going to have the dark halos. And only pause here that outside the edge, you're going to get the actual sunlight from behind the celestial body. Yeah, sorry I never talked about the moon simulator for the lack of evidence. But keep in mind, one thing I had in this description, go back and watch this video. Dark sun halos are solar eclipses and lunar eclipses. Why else would they be chemtrailing the moon? For the same reason they chemtrail this. Please go back and watch it for the lack of time on these videos. So let's review what I just showed you. Can you see the moon? Not a direct view, can you? But you certainly starting to see a dark halo. Okay, so this is solar system scope. You can see I've got the crosshairs near Europe, over Italy, Germany, or the moon. Yes, that's the moon. We can see it. This is the current position that we have on the time, we could see that this celestial body is near the moon and Pluto and Sagittarius. So, and the sun had long set below Mars. Just thought I'd show that as a point of reference. So please copy, like, and share this video. The days are short. Just have a look at that lunar halo. Because it would probably have been a new moon because if we get a solar eclipse from not from our Earth, but from another body, that would be a new moon. And it's probably not a new moon. So here we have a solar halo, lunar eclipse from another planet, not our Earth. And let's just look at the night sky progression here. Here it is at 2200 hours over Lake Starnberg, clear skies all day long. We get, I believe, Planet X because of the speed of this system coming in. But watch how they start spraying the skies at night to cover this up. And again, and now we've got the halo right where Planet X just was.